Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Jaha Knight, and I am a branding Amazon. I generally take clients from A to Z in their business. I totally am. I'm excited today because there's something that I want to talk to you about. It's something I've been thinking about for a little while. It's confidence and being naked. I know. The lady that was talking about being a believer last week is now talking about being naked. Anyway, the point is confidence and being naked. In 2005, I moved back to Charleston, South Carolina. And at the time, it was a sad time because my mother was ill and I had to take care of her so that she can get better. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But in the midst of it, I did learn some things. I learned to reconnect with myself. What she went through taught me how to be more in tune with what I needed for me. And back then, what I needed at the time was to express my feelings, what I was going through, how I felt about the situation, and what the outcome could possibly be. The only way I could do that was through poetry. So in 2005, when I moved back to South Carolina, I actually started to write again. I started to be more of an artist again, reconnecting with my spirit. I had always written poetry, but now I wanted to take it up a little notch. I wanted to be a spoken word artist. And when I decided to do that, the only way I knew how was to study the great poets, and study the great spoken word artists. So I decided, and if anyone who's watching this knows me, they know I just go full in everything that I do. I always go gung ho. So I threw myself into the idea of learning how to be a spoken word artist. My biggest fear was public speaking. It was very much a huge fear. I was just like, oh, who's to say I can do this? So at the time, my goal was to go out here and to learn how to be a public speaker or a spoken word artist. So I studied some greats. One of the greats that I studied was Georgia Me. Her name is Tamika Harper. She's a prolific poet, Tony Award winning poet, a deaf poet. And then there was a crew that was around her that I liked a lot. It was Abyss. He was a great poet as well, and he played the guitar. And I was just like, oh, I need to learn how to play There was so much that they did as a collective and as a unit of friends, and also people that knew each other and were in the poetry circle. I was just impressed by the way they felt when they would go, or how it felt for me, when they would go up on stage and have the courage to be naked on stage, tell their truths, not apologize for their truths, be very bold in the delivery that they created for themselves and that they mastered as entertainers and artists. So they weren't the only two artists. There were also a few more. There was Jessica Care Moore, who I interviewed very early on in my interviewing career as a DJ or as a personality or whatever. And there were other poets like Echo. Echo was a prolific poet and still is. These are all poets that still perform today. So these aren't people that I'm just making up. But there were so many poets that I had to study. I would go out to different states and watch them perform. I would listen to them on the internet, because back then there was MySpace, and there was so many things that I did to study and their truth and the ability to be truthful. I went to other poetry collections and collectives, and I actually watched them perform. I was very on it because, like I said, when I go in all in. The thing that I saw that made these poets great was their ability to be naked on stage. They're they're not whispering in the dark. They're not holding up a pen and pad and just jotting things down and just randomly saying them. They had a story, and that story was a collection of poems that would be on a CD that they would sell at the end. But it was just their story that made me understand exactly what they were trying to say, how they were saying it, and getting me more in tune with who they were as people. And that allowed me to realize that what I wanted to do when I went on stage was not to block myself from the people that I was trying to reach. I was not trying to go on stage and deliver something mediocre. I wanted to get on stage and step into the power that was my story, and step into the power of connection and connecting with people who had stories just like mine. My goal was to be great at what I did. And it's always been that. And I think that's your goal too. I think your goal is to be great at whatever you put your mark on, your stamp on, your name on. And that is our birthright, to be great. But to be honest, the thought of going out on that stage terrified me. I joined up with, I actually founded a nonprofit. I founded a nonprofit organization with other poets, and what we did was we practiced and practiced and practiced. We practiced our delivery, we practiced memorization. We got techniques from each other and helped each other to learn how to go on stage and deliver a powerful performance, where to pause and where to come back at and be fierce so that people wouldn't know it was coming. We learned a lot in our session of learning, in our time of learning. Honestly, it wasn't easy. Nothing worth having is ever easy. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, some of us, we step out into the world and we think, okay, I got the thing that I want to do. Now it should be easy. It's never going to be easy. It's always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be something you have to work at. There's a season for you that is designed for you to study and learn and grow and understand. There's a season for you to get out into the world and actually find your clients. There's a season for you to create the products and services for those clients. There's a season for everything. And I always say that you should order your steps. Know what your craft is inside and out before you start doing things that are out of alignment, that are not within the steps of the process of how things work. Order your steps. After you order your steps, knowing what you know, how you know it, allows you to be so firm in your understanding of that, then now you can go out and you can sell it to anybody. You can serve it to anybody. Because as soul-centered entrepreneurs, we don't necessarily sell ourselves, we serve. And that is our calling. It's our gift, and it's what we need to do in the world to feel good and to feel like we're walking in the steps of which God put us down here to do. The purpose that we were created for. What I learned from watching these poets and from learning from them and getting all that juicy insight, because I became friends with them. But what I learned from them was the people that step into the world whispering are never heard. No one knows who they are. They're the best kept secret. And you don't want to step into the world when you finally decide your season for learning is done and now it's time to step into your greatness. When you finally decide to do that, you don't want to step into the world whispering. You want to step into the world bold as you want to be, telling the world, hey, this is what I do, this is who I am, and this is why we are right for each other. Because the people that you connect with, the people that are your ideal client, your target audience, they're waiting for you. They need you. You were put here to answer that question that only you can answer. You're here to create a change for them that only you can create, because they need someone just like you. When I realized that, it was a life-changing moment for me. I would always take the kid with me to every performance, and she would always say every time, Mommy, when you get up on that stage, people stop and they listen. I don't see them doing that for everybody else. And maybe that was just her perception, because I'm her mama and she loves me, all that good stuff, she loves her mama. But that's what I learned from that if you step into the world and you're whispering, you are never going to be heard. So when you're ready to step into your greatness and you're ready to step into the world with the things that you're good at, with what God put you here to be phenomenal at, everyone will pay attention, because you will have to shout it, and you will have to shout it in a way that allows you to be a part of the conversation and not a part of the noise. Be transparent with your truth. Be confident in it, because it's your truth. No one can say it's wrong. It's your truth. So your giant step today, designed to take you into action, is to take that important thing that you've been whispering to the world about and grab a megaphone. Tell the world about what you do and how you do it and what change you're creating for others. Tell them, and then grab 3 or 4 friends and have them shout it too, because your truth is real and it deserves support. Besides, it makes no sense to climb the ladder to success to find yourself up there and alone. Inspire the giant in others as much as you feel it rising in yourself. If you need help with your confidence, or feeling that giant rising inside of yourself and what it's supposed to do, and having so many gifts and not knowing how to hone them in so that they're focused on one thing, then you can find me at brandingamazon.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this video for more giant steps to success. Well, we were born as Adam and Eve and all that stuff. One of the poets, every time he sees me, he goes, jaha, jaha. Inspire the giant and blah, 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 blah.